Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Kanti Talk Live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candy Talk Open Forum Political Discussion Show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, the former governor of Bungoma, Wycliffe Wangamati, and the current Bomet governor, Hillary Barchok, behind bars on graft issues that were raised by the Anti-Corruption Commission the other day. Well, there was the development of ensuring that whatever that the graft body was talking about, they have decided to make good their threat, and of course made those arrests. And now we're looking forward to seeing them answer for the charges leveled against them. Now, of course, asked why they are all claiming to be innocent, the usual crying foul, and of course claiming to be being persecuted because of the 2027 governorship elections, was of course the first confession, rather the first reason they claim they are being persecuted or being witch hunted. I don't know what is your take on the same, but we are here to break down and of course look at the politics around it, and what is at play, what is at stake. Is this really war against graft, or it is the usual political maneuvers to try and get people to support either the current administration or totally align about criticizing the current administration? The use of state organs to frustrate those that are not in your political fold is nothing new in our country. It's been with us for as long as we've been in existence as a nation. And so what is being claimed by Wangamati to be targeted because of his quest to recapture the Bungoma governorship probably is at play. And then, of course, he's been out of office now for how many years now? About 3. And so why is the case coming up now when he's been out of office and all along everything has been all right? So I would love to hear what is your take. While that is taking place, the Nairobi MCAs are claiming, or rather are calling for the ouster of the governor, Johnson Sakaja. And that forms the part of our poll question this evening, even as we look at the politics, the pull, the push that is taking place within the Nairobi part of government administration. And so it is claimed that almost 70 members of county assembly in Nairobi have appended their signature for the ouster of Sakaja. We are asking you, do you support the Nairobi MCAs for impeaching or for the impeachment of Sakaja? Your yes or no is opinion required on our YouTube channel, Sound Candy Talk Live. I want to appreciate all of you that are joining us on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. I would want to request you to be part of the extension of what we're doing right here, right where you are, by sharing that live And of course, begin by liking the video and let's engage as we break down all these and make sense of the same. Remember, we are here to make sense of our politics as we ease life for the masses. I invite everybody to be part of the great conversation. While that is going on, the Sakaja fate being decided by the MCAs of Nairobi, there is the Kenya Moja. Kenya Moja seems to be another phenomena in our political development led by Sifuna, Babu Owino, Wamuchomba, and who else? Amisi. So it is another formation that seems to be making the political players not to sit pretty again. We'll also want to dive deep into these. What are the forces behind this? Because there are some claims and counterclaims that this is a wing by William Ruto to counter Wamunyoro and team. I don't understand how that is possible, but mtaniambia ninyi kwa sababu nawategemea mkatufundishe tunapoelimishana katika mambo haya. So Kenya Moja ni muungano ama kuja pamoja kwa wanasiasa tofauti, na hawa ndio wanasiasa ambao ni tunasema barubaru wanao sasa inaonekana kwamba kuna ile vuta nikuvute kati ya wazee na vijana. So hawa ndio wanasiasa ambao ni vijana. Ni kipi wanachotafuta? Nafasi yao wenyewe, wanapigana na wazee, ama ni kipi kinachoendelea katika huo mrengo wa nini wa Kenya Moja? Tungependa pia kuangazia hilo katika mambo tunayoyazungumzia leo. Pia Duale, waziri wa afya, amependekeza kwamba wote ambao wamehusika katika kujaribu kuhadaa na kudanganya mfumo wa SHA kwa kupeana claims ambazo hasifai, kwa hiyo bima ya matibabu, sasa wamepeanwa kwa DCI, uchunguzi ukafanywe, alafu mashtaka yakafunguliwe. Hivi ndivyo ama sivyo? Mtaniambia ninyi pia ili tumakinike pamoja. So wacha tuanze na hiyo arrest ya Wangamati na Barchok, alafu tuone ni kipi kinachoendelea. Karibisha mtu, tumakinike pamoja. Asante kwa wote ambao mnajiunga nasi, tumakinike kwa pamoja tunapojifunza. Asante sana. Keep it right here as we look at different stories, their significance, and how to apply the same in our life. Of course, taking responsibility on what needs to be done in helping this country become a better place and, of course, better governed. Let's look at this and we'll be back to break it down. Karibu.
Tonight is Njoki Shege. Now, Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok and former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati and 11 other suspects are spending the night in police custody to be arraigned on Tuesday over corruption allegations. The two leaders who were arrested recorded statements at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission headquarters before being transferred to the Kilimani police station. Seth Olale followed the unfoldings at the Integrity Center and filed this report.
The 9-hour operation targeting Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok and former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati that commenced at Integrity Center culminated at the Kilimani police station. Ex-Bungoma County boss Wangamati was the first to arrive at the EACC headquarters, flanked with 10 directors of various companies, including family members Michael Simiyu Wangamati and Edward Barasa Wangamati, over alleged embezzlement of funds through fraudulent procurement procedures.
Mambo ya siasa ya Bungoma County 2027, yes.
The former Bungoma governor and his 10 co-accused were then taken to Kilimani police station under tight security. Upon arriving at the Kilimani police station, Wangamati was officially booked in before being locked up in the cells.
EACC CEO, please don't allow yourself to be used by politicians to damage the profile of a credible institution.
A few kilometers from Kilimani police station, Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok attempted to secure an anticipatory order at Milimani law courts in order to prevent EACC and ODPP from arresting and prosecuting him.
Governor, do you think you are innocent?
When this failed, Barchok presented himself to EACC detectives at Integrity House. Just like his counterpart, the embattled county boss was processed before being transferred to Kilimani police station, where he was booked in. As the suspects spent the night behind bars, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is now considering confiscating assets it describes proceeds of corruption, even as it intensifies its war on graft in the devolved units. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Kilimani Police Station.
All right, please confirm if you're able to get me. Those of you follow me on YouTube especially, if you're able to get me loud and clear, I believe it is sorted. Thank you very much. Now, Wangamati and Barchok are spending their night in the cold today on the matters graft. Now, I want us to extensively look at this issue more keenly and closely. Because there is the politics being invoked as the reason behind the arrest. And then, of course, the charges are also something that we can't ignore. Looking at what's going on in our country, the purpose for devolution and the abuses that are resulting into the same. And like we have noted in the past, the public office in this country needs to be sanitized, to say the least. Sanitized in the sense that the attitude of people using public office for self-enrichment, it is now reaching alarming levels in our country. And it appears that everybody is looking for an opportunity just to loot and, divert monies that are meant for public service to personal pockets. And this is not sitting well with our country. Our country is bleeding with the menace of corruption. So whether Wangamati and Barchok are guilty or not, the issue of corruption in this country can no longer be tolerated. And so as Kenyans, we need to come to terms. Are we having public offices for personal gain or public offices for public service? And if you are in a public office, you're a governor, you're a senator, you're a member of parliament, or you are a member of county assembly, what is your drive? What is driving you into being in that particular position. I believe being entrusted with public resources is an awesome responsibility that requires to be, feel a sense of responsibility and protect those public resources for the interest of the public. We have turned the public offices into personal ventures that are turned into, cash cows that is not helping the situation. We just celebrated 15 years of the new constitution. And of course, that goes for devolution. And as much as we have seen some level of progress under the devolution regime, I believe we could do much better if we laid a grip on the corruption menace. And this also makes me very sad that the younger leaders, the people we call youth being the leaders of tomorrow, are the ones being, arraigned for corruption. And that doesn't look good for where we are going, because if the mentality is use public office to enrich yourself, enrich your family, enrich your friends and your relatives, and not serve the public and not protect the public resources for the interest of the public, that is very sad. And so as a people, something needs to begin to happen to us. And those of you aspiring for political offices or that space to go in and be able to serve Kenyans, please don't go there for yourself. Go there for the Kenyan people and go there for the delivery of what should be. And right now there is a debate, in fact, a disagreement between the Treasury and the Council of Governors on the switching of the procurement system. Now, I don't have much details about it, but there is a tug of war of either continuing with a manual system of procurement for people that need to supply or serve the whatever county governments, and then the Treasury is proposing that everything now goes digital and people should apply and to be considered to win tender for anything within the county online and digitally without having physical contact. And then the governors seem not to be taking that, now specifically the Council of Governors. Why would that be the case? This only goes without saying that they are vested interests into this procurement. And if there is a place where corruption is budgeted and serviced and, of course, ensured that it's available, is in this procurement sector. So why would the governors reject the digital system of procurement and insist on that manual, analog, physical procurement process? Are they out to manipulate the process and give those contracts to their friends? And that, of course, results to abuse of office and misuse of public resources. And one thing that I would want to raise here is the economy of the country and the economy of the county is as good as it is freed, not when it is micromanaged to a level whereby specific regions get tenders and other regions are denied those tenders. It is better, you are better off as a governor when you let the circulation of money and the circulation of services goes around the entire county. It eases the burden on you, especially the other welfare programs that you may be running. So the aspect of making sure that the tender goes to your uncle and the other one goes to your cousin and this one goes to your girlfriend, this one goes to your wife, it is unnecessary. You're putting on yourself responsibility that is not yours. Let the county economy be free and let the best people be allowed to supply whatever that needs to be supplied for the county. Let them be paid in good time, and with those payments, you enhance the circulation of the money within the county and develop the economy of that particular county. And that also goes that the procurement needs to be made first and foremost for the indigenous, the dwellers, the people that are investing within that particular county. But we, as the governors, would want to micromanage the procurement process, and then that money, after it is paid to, let's say, Kakamega County, and then the company that is being paid is based in Dubai, and so all the money is carried from Kakamega County, it goes to Dubai, and that is the end of the story. So we remain on the periphery of what ought to be a springboard of the breaking forth of that particular economy. So I would want that as especially young leaders, let's think how we can enhance and build our local economy. Not this aspect of looking at a contract or looking at a tender and see how much can go to your pocket. And then we are so silly in our corruption to a level whereby we are taking all the money from the county and then mortgage a house in the US, or mortgage a house in Dubai, or mortgage whatever outside in South Africa. And so the economy keeps shrinking, the people continue to suffer, and all of it is because of your greed. So this Wangamati and Barchok arrest, without necessarily overblowing the politics around it, please, something needs to happen to us. Let us allow county governments to be a blessing to the people of those particular counties, and not turn counties into cash cows for the few against the, or rather at the expense of the rest. So we'll be looking maybe later on to the merits and demerits of the cases leveled against this particular two governors. But in my opinion, we deserve better than this. We need better than this. And as young leaders, all those of you aspiring and those of you already in office, it's a disappointment that the younger leaders are the ones doing poorly. They are the ones leading in corruption and the ones being mentioned in corruption. It makes the future bleak, because you are the tomorrow presidents, you are the tomorrow CEO of the country, and if you can't be faithful in little, the Bible says you can't be faithful in much. And so you've been given just a county to manage. You can run a country, but if you are failing as a county manager or a county wherever CEO, then who will entrust you with the country? And this is the dilemma of our politics, that people misbehave at the lower level, and then we celebrate them for the same. Very heartbreaking, but I believe we can do better than this. And let's talk on this. I need to hear what is your take in the comment section. So without the blanket judgment of these two guys who have been arrested, I think they should just offer as a lesson. And then, of course, I remember the Anti-Corruption Commission is talking about 11 governors, okay? We have 47 counties. So 11 is a huge number. And if everybody is given to corruption, what is left of this country? What is left of our children and our children's children? I believe we need to get back to our senses and begin to think about the future of the country and safeguard that future by managing wisely the resources available, and of course, multiply it for the future. Okay. if you decline some comments from the above, anti-corruption will come for you. All right, and so of course we are aware of the politics at play right now, and that is why I find it very disturbing that as soon as William Ruto began to talk about graft and war against graft, you saw the MCA, what is not the MCA, the chairman of the anti-corruption, Bishop Oginde, coming out and now speaking about who is being investigated, why they're being investigated, and things like those. But to the profiting of our country and for the surety of the future of this country, people should run away from corruption. People should run away from corruption. I mean, why should you make life unbearable for the widows, make life unbearable for the elderly, make the future bleak for the young people, all of it for your personal interest? This ought not to be the case. And that's why I keep talking about people who qualify to be put on the ballot as contestants in the elections. We must come up with a criteria. We must come up with some level of scrutiny and standards that everyone needs to meet in order for them to do what? To qualify to run for public office. And this is not just academic qualification, but there has to be a moral, threshold needed. And this can be traced through your history. Where did you serve first? What kind of recommendation came from there? Who is crying since you left the place? And how is the place where you were? Because this ought not to be the case that we elect people, put them in public office, and they turn into thieves, and all they do is loot the public resources other than protect it and keep it for the future. And so I really would want Kenyans to begin to think seriously and consider this issue as an urgent issue. And it zeroes into who qualifies to be on the ballot as a governor, who qualifies to be on the ballot as a senator, who qualifies to be on the ballot as a member of county assembly, as member of National Assembly, and of course, other public positions. If we don't sieve the people that get to the ballot, then we should be comfortable with whatever that is presented to us. But it is sad that the younger leaders are not showing any form of patriotism and, of course, diligence in ensuring that they are safeguarding the future. And if you're young and you're not keen about safeguarding the future, I don't understand where you come from. I don't understand what goes on in your system. Because you're going to be here longer than most of the elderly politicians, and allowing yourself to walk in the footsteps of the corrupt and the footsteps of the public resource looters, it shows on how irresponsible you are in the first place, and of course on how you think only about yourself. And this is not how a country is managed. This is not how a country is, built. For us to be people that will do what is, what would outlive us, we need to forget ourselves long enough and think about our children, think about our children's children. Their counties, the schools are falling apart. Students are studying under a tree. There are no hospitals. The counties are pathetic. Yet somebody is in the office driving the best car, running around with the national flag and all of it, displaying on how big he is as a big man in the office. Yet the county is depleting and everything is falling apart. That's irresponsible. And so I would invite us into this great discussion and need you to express what exactly you feel about this. So despite the fact of the cases against Wangamati and the case against Hillary, I really would want Kenyans to get back to the table where we discuss the people we put in office. You can't allow hyena to look after your sheep and expect the sheep to be safe. Where do we send our senses when it comes to electing people into office? And you people presenting yourself to be elected in office, what are you after? Taking what belongs to the public and converting it into your personal property. How do you expect the public to be safeguarded and to be protected when you are taking away what they are supposed to depend on in order to continue functioning as they ought? The hospitals, the schools, the food security. I don't get it. You being a governor, and you're not worried about these things. All you're worried about is which car, which bonding you're going to go where, which trip, and which building you are mortgaging where. This must not continue. Thank you very much. As we continue the conversation, tafadhali karibisha mtu tumakinike pamoja. I can see Reverend Lala is here. I want him to weigh on this before we switch gears to another story. Reverend, how are you today?
I'm well, Bernard. How are you?
Great, great. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. How are you?
You're doing well. We thank God.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Okay. I think I will be silent for a few minutes and listen. But it's good to be back. I've been away a little bit. Some good things been going on, and some challenges here and there. But overall, we are doing just fine. I think I've been trying to follow what's going on back home because we have a lot of stuff going on here in the US, and we are battling the same demons that is impacting people, common wananchi. I know some of the challenges here impacting our people back home very directly, and it's not good. So we must keep the fight. We must fight to have right leadership in place if we ever hope to succeed and become a developed country. I think I didn't get what you mentioned, what you're discussing earlier. I was not keen about Wangamati and the others, but good leadership is what we need. And I think it's rather sad. There's some hope that we have, but changes need to take place, both in our leadership, but also in kama sisi kama wananchi. We are the ones that giving these people legs to run on. We are the one they come and deceive and we falter it. We're the one that are gullible, basically. And so it is our duty, even in this channel, to educate ourselves, to address some of these issues and be brave enough and stand on that which is right, so that we don't allow these people to do what they're doing, because actually they may enjoy us talking because they know we talk, then after talking, nothing is done. So when we talk, that's when they get the feel, the gauge what's really going on in the mind of people. Then they design their type of programs or their type of, I would call it diabolic, because when a country as rich as Kenya, with so many resources, And yet our people cannot afford healthcare, cannot go to school, children cannot go to school, people are malnourished because there's not enough food, then you know something is wrong. So it is my responsibility and your responsibility to be able to speak truth to power, and not just speak, but be willing to do that which is right. For example, when we plan to go to the polls, who are going to be the candidates? Start thinking now. Begin to rate them. Ask questions. What type of job have they done? What kind of credential do they have? What type of character do they display in whatever they're doing? We got to interrogate these people. Somebody who gives you money, that is number one. The person that you must be suspicious of. When somebody gives you money to vote, that is the beginning of corruption. That is the worst of the worst. Somebody who wants to be elected should come to you asking for money. Donate 5 shillings, donate 10 shillings, because it is you they are going to work for, not themselves. But right now, what we are doing is we are energizing them. We are the ones that basically going to them so that they can dominate us. But if you have a say in that electorate, in that person, in that place where you are, then it's very hard for them to do the things that they're doing. Because you are the owner of the land, you're the owner of these resources. It is you. And I don't understand, we Africans, how we can have wealth and yet we allow those who are stealing from us to eat and vomit on their shoes, and we are actually celebrating them do this to us, and we call ourselves poor. I mean, it does not make any sense. Even dogs don't do the things, that we are doing to ourselves. So I think we have to grow up, and that's why young people, my age, we failed you, but you guys must rise up and demand truth, justice, fairness, good governance, and make sure the wrong people are out of power. And you got that power through the ballot, through your voice as citizens, and let's do it. So I'm glad I'm back here today. Bernard, I'm back to you, and it's good I don't know who is there with us now. They are still coming in, but I'm happy to be back.
Thank you. Welcome back, and we will continue to engage until Kenya becomes what it ought to become. Well, we were looking at Wangamati, and Wangamati is the former Bungoma governor, and Barchok is the current Bomet governor, were arrested today for graft. That is what we are raising. And those are younger leaders compared to other elderly governors around the country. So we are saying if the younger ones are implicated in graft, and it's all on issue to do with procurement, giving tenders to your family members, things like that. Are we making progress as a people, or we are digging ourselves in the ditch by continuing to entertain what doesn't help the country to grow and what doesn't help the country to move forward?
Yeah, Bernard, I've got a mixed feeling here because it is difficult to know whether the investigators have a bigger challenge because of credibility. Because, when you hear somebody has been visited, sure, they may have, been involved in something, but because the ground has been poisoned so much that you don't know, because right now, even you, Bernard, you get that leadership, and you do the right thing. There are people who will undermine you. They will make sure that they accuse you of things, and make sure that they put things in your name, soil your name. Okay. And I'm saying this to say this. I had a good friend of mine here in the US. He did his MBA. I came with his bachelor's and MBAs, and he came home. In fact, the day he was coming home, he slept in my house, coming back home. And when he got back home, he got a job in a Parasoto, and I was very happy for him, because we used to talk about how we want to come and transform Kenya and the things that he had in mind. So when he got there, as an officer in one of those companies, one of those Parasoto, he called me and told me, Abel, the office in a mess. There's no structure here, and I just want to do the best I can. And he was there going back to the office, even on the weekend. He's from Western, was going to the office on the weekend just to make sure that there was a structure in that office. Do you know, within a very short time, people ganged up against him, and he was told, "Why are you here in the office working, extra time? You are trying to undermine us." Okay. So, in other words, because we're doing the right thing, the fellow workers became suspicious of him, that he's trying to do more, than everybody else, so that he can be able to get ahead of them. Of course, he ended up leaving that place, but somebody saw the kind of work he was doing, and he became somebody, senior when I came to see him. But this is the kind of mindset our people have. Even when you do the right thing, somehow somebody is trying to soil your name. So let's wait for these two people. I don't know, maybe there's a lot of evidence against them. But if they've done something wrong, let them go. But let's not be judgmental to them as individuals. But we must talk about corruption, and because we know governors have done it. And let me say this: part of the problem is the weak or the corrupt national government. Let me say that. Say it again: the weak and corrupt national government. And I'm saying that because I live in a country that we borrowed the same ideas, the same constitution that we have here. We have two tiers of government. There's the state, and there's the federal. Okay, each one of them has its own role. The role of the federal government in the U.S. here is to make sure that the monies of the development in those states are done without any corruption. As a matter of fact, if a federal system is on you, no, you're going to jail. Okay, because they come with all the FBIs and others. They come basically to make sure that everything is done to the letter. When the national government allows all this massive corruption to take place, they are part of the problem. They are part of the problem. We had an issue with, I come from Homa Bay. There was stealing going on at one point. And this young man, a neighbor to my sister, I think he had massed a large, property and money and different things that he had acquired, yet it was just a middle, executive. And so he was arrested. And you know what they do? This young man traveled to Nairobi, and they know how to do things there in Nairobi. And he gets back and is enjoying the loot. The loot is there. He's enjoying it. And then they took him to court recently, And of course, we are told that they went to jail. Okay. But when I was in Kenya recently, even from jail, he's brought at night home. And he lives there like a warlord, okay, with all the luxuries because he has the money. That is Kenya. So I think Kenya should be mad enough to ask themselves, are we just simply trying to keep this rotten thing called the government, or are we willing to create a change that will give us what we're looking for? A clean government that is delivering service to the people. So that's why I'm apprehensive when I hear the two names being arrested. I'd like to know a little bit more. I hope you are doing the right thing. And if they're doing the right thing, then they are suffering for the good reason, just like our Savior suffered, not because he sinned, but because some people were jealous of him, And so my hope is that. But if they have been stealing, and then sorry for this, because Wangamati was one of the people that I respected a lot. So I don't know, Bernard. Maybe you let me know exactly what they found out, what he's trying to be doing. But we know the rot has been everywhere. Back to you.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I appreciate that line of thinking, and of course, that is the first invoked defense for those that are being accused. And then, of course, the complexity of our politics is usually very murky, and people will go to any extent to try and eliminate a strong opposition. And that is also one of the things that is hampering our credible leadership, where now, instead of people competing on how good they are, we resort into eliminating good people and leave the space for evil people or incompetent people to be the ones on the ballot. And then you have an easy sail into public office, even with your questionable character. And so as Kenyans, we need to change this and ensure that people are competing on their qualities and not eliminate the best out of the race so that the worst alone are left on the ballot. And no matter which vote, will end up in the same place. Now, I have a bone of contention with the younger leaders, and we will, in the next video, we are talking about the Nairobi MCAs considering to impeach Sakaja for gross violation of the Constitution, mismanagement of public resources, and things like that. And so look at Wangamati, look at Barchok, look at, there is the Nandi governor, of course, the Arati is a younger governor, and then all that.
Bernard,
yes.
This is why I'm saying that the national government is failing us. I don't know whether people see it, because these people, they should have been looking at what they're doing. And it's looked like there's nobody, they are given this leeway to do whatever they want to do in the, in the counties, which is really sad. There has to be another eye that is looking at what's going on. And of course, we have a problem with our MPs with the CDF, because they are they are eating, so they have got no time to do their job. So all they're waiting for is to impeach. I mean, these are things that should be going on. The committee should be meeting and monitoring of some of these services going on, corruption and all that. So for us to wait for this Senate to do their job, I don't know that it happens everywhere, anywhere. I think this should be just one of the tiers of looking at what's going on. There has to be other eyes that are looking at things that are going on. Judiciary, where are they? I mean, this is sad.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to engage, karibisha mtu, like video, piga kura yako. Are you supporting the Nairobi MCAs for the impeachment of Sakaja or not? It's a poll question on YouTube. Would love to hear what you think, and you can respond to the same even on TikTok or Facebook, so that we know where you stand on matters leadership, corruption, and what needs to be done to arrest the situation. Thank you so much. Keep it right here. Let's listen out to this, and we break it down in a short while.
Nairobi.
Let's now spotlight Nairobi County. Governor Johnson Sakaja is staring at a possible ouster after 90 MCAs appended their signatures in support of an impeachment motion against him.
Now, the embattled Sakaja will know his fate when the motion is presented in the county assembly tomorrow.
The MCAs are accusing Sakaja of a myriad of offences, including graft and misuse of public funds, as Edwin Owino reports.
What started as an online buzz became a reality when a section of members of Nairobi County Assembly came before the cameras on Monday mid-morning after a closed-door meeting that ran for hours. Top of their agenda was to announce the start of Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja's impeachment after tens of the ward representatives appended their signatures in support of the proposal to oust Sakaja from Nairobi's top office.
We have enough signatures. We passed the threshold. In the 5th minute of collection of signatures, we already had the minimum required 42. We want to ensure that we are not going to take the motion with 42. We are going to take the motion with 100 signatures.
We've had an executive that is unresponsive. When you do letters, no response is coming from the executive side. When we allocate budget for bursary, again, the same budget is not realized. When we approve budget for infrastructure, again, the roads are not done. When we allocate money for WDF or WDP, again, contractors are not being paid.
They have cited corruption, misuse of public funds, and failing to deliver promises made to Nairobians as some of the key grounds for his impeachment. Despite the MCAs refuting claims of a third force behind the impeachment motion, reports indicate that the leadership of Nairobi County, the governor, and a veteran politician held a meeting within the city this afternoon, reportedly to craft a way to rescue Sakaja from the planned ouster. The MCAs had announced plans to formally table the motion this week, pending communication from the speaker. With Sakaja currently on his third year of the first term as governor in office, will the planned impeachment exercise come to fruition? Winfrey Owino, KTN.
To the war against graft now, and Bomet Governor.
Okay, there you have it. Sakaja and the MCAs of Nairobi, and of course the issues raised there of what is happening at City Hall. And now, of course, the attempt to ensure, maybe to try and frustrate the efforts of the MCS in scrutinizing and checking out Sakaja's performance in Nairobi is, I believe, one of the places where we go wrong as political leaders. I believe the responsibility of MCAs is to oversight the governor. And if the MCAs have grounds on questioning the governor needs to come up with a proper response to the issues being raised, other than trying to galvanize political support and try to defeat a legal matter politically. I don't know what's your take, Reverend Lala, on that, where we resort to use politics to deal with a legal matter.
Bernard, here's where I think I have a little bit of, yes, the MCAs have every right to air their concern. The problem that I have with MCAs is that they have also a lot of personal interests. They are there for they are the ones that are influencing decisions that are being made over there. It's like the tug of war is between uh, the governor and MCAs. And so the MCAs also have not very clean hands. And this is why I mentioned that the federal government monitoring some of these services. That doesn't mean we are talking of taking over or of supervise, whatever it is you want to call it, but it's simply there's an eye that is looking at how the government functions. And that way, all the teams, all the stakeholders can work together and check on each other. And that way, we don't let, all these piles, because here they're coming with a bunch of issues. This has been going on. In other words, stealing has been going on for a long time. Okay. Now, why come now? Why was it not, the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks? Okay. This is how our money is looted. They're looting to the point where they start fighting among themselves. Then that's the time they are trying to impeach, Sakaja. But if there was somebody else looking at what's going on in the city hall or in the county, then we can look at the whole problem of corruption. But right now we are looking at Sakaja alone, but accomplices are there, So my prayer is that there's a time when an issue like this is raised, then another eye comes in, whether it's the national government come in, the judiciary come in, and others who are trained to understand or to take care of such important cases, in a way that solve the problem. Because here, to me, it's just a political theater here. Sakaja will be gone, but it's going to be gone with, a lot. Okay, because they all come to steal. So when Sakaja's gone, somebody else is coming to do the same thing, and that's the problem, because it's like bring another thief to come take care of themselves, and then MCAs now will have power over that new governor and start, making money. I think Kibuta Kibwana, gave us a little bit of something that we can hold on to. And that is, when things were bad, when those MCAs wanted him out, he decided to say, let's go there. You see, the war, let's look at who is on the wrong side. And Wananchi had to come in and solve the problem. But that's we can't all do it that way. But I think there's a way we can strengthen our system so that we have ongoing check and balance. Okay. In other words, MCAs can go somewhere before they come to us. There are mechanism there where you can be able to say this is what's going on, and then it's taken care of immediately. If uncles and aunties and others are the one getting these tenders, it can be corrected, and we know that's going on in the entire country. People are connected, the one getting, and it doesn't require a lot to unearth this problem. It's very simple. Anybody coming in, any basic understanding of how to do auditing or investigation, will be able to find out these things and we can correct them. But what do? We politicize them. So I don't think they're going to solve anything apart from changing thieves to keep on stealing from, because the system is broken. And so the new constitution is supposed to help us, but it's also doing a lot of harm to us if it's not implemented correctly, if people don't do what it requires us to do. And that's what I'm afraid is going on in the country. That's my little answer to that question, Bernard.
Okay. Thank you, Lala, for that. But as matters graft come up, corruption, there is, we have enough laws that can address this, meaning that the DCI, the Anti-Corruption Commission, and the criminal justice system doesn't need the input of the MCAs to do their job. They just need to get a wind that there is this going on at City Hall. They investigate it, and then, of course, can begin their own case against the governor without the MCAs. But the MCAs are in this because of oversight. Oversight meaning if the governor is not doing the right thing, the MCAs have a responsibility to, because they are the ones that approve, like what they are claiming here. They approve money for road repair. The money is released from the kitty, but the roads are not repaired. They approve money for bursaries for the children. The money does not get to the children. And so they want to scrutinize and ensure that the governor is doing the right thing, or if he's not doing the right thing, then they exercise that responsibility of trying to, impeach him, because that is their role and that is their responsibility. This is quite different from Kibwana's case. Kibwana was, the MCAs just wanted to frustrate him from functioning, refused to pass the bills, refused to pass the budget because they have not been settled. They wanted money for bonding, money for trips and all that the governor refused to approve. And so what's going on in Nairobi is quite different from what was happening in Makueni that resulted into the dissolution of the assembly, the county assembly. In my understanding, the Nairobi MCAs are on the right track if they want to hold their governor to account. If they are doing it for political reasons, then they are also failing Kenyans, because they are being paid to ensure that the reason for the county government in Nairobi is doing what it's supposed to do. That is their watchdog for the people. But if they collude with the governor to deprive the people of the services, then something is wrong. Yes, sir.
Yes, Bernard, I get your point. My point is this, that some of this graft that go on, they're given time to go on. And if you look behind the scene, is somebody else who is also trying to get whatever in the loot is, and they don't get it, then they get disillusioned. In other words, by the time they come to surface, we discover what's going on. A lot has disappeared. Services have come to a halt. Things are so bad. Now the question is, why can't they find out these things as civil oversight people to be able to raise these issues in time, okay? Which of course they may be doing in Nairobi, but in most of these cases, when they are cited, there are just too many. If there was a mechanism where they can be, arrested much earlier, these issues, and corrected much earlier, so that we don't lose so much. And that's the point I'm raising, that whether it is Makueni or it is Nairobi, it seems to me these are looting spaces where they have a way of doing it. And I think the duty of the government, both government, is to make sure that the climate is not created for such loot to take place. Because you know very well, somebody get into the office, they're going to be rich because of the nature of how things are done. The laws are there, I agree with you 100%. But there's a sense in which we, for some reason, expect stealing to take place, and we know these people are going to do it. So instead of supervising them, we also go in and to get as much as we can. Maybe Nairobi MCAs are great, but what I've seen, I'm talking from more general awareness, because I'm trying to compare what I see here and what is going on. It seems as if because this young man and others, these guys, I came home, they had nothing. Within a short time, they're building plots, buying plots, building buildings and all this. And people don't seem to have any problem with that. They're walking in this money that we know is stolen. There's nothing they've done to warrant that kind of a money them to have. And that seems to be normal in the country. Why do we normalize this evil stuff? And these are the things that we got to fight. Because if we don't, then all we're doing is doing politics. Politics is just a thermal transition. Mimi nakula ya kutosha, sasa wacha nifanye mtu mwingine aende akule. So of course when we do it, we go there and pretend we are impeaching. They already have millions in their bank account. Because these people that I'm talking about, they're not going to jail. They're never going to go to jail. They're out there. And this is what makes even some of us mad and young people mad. And so this is why we got to come together and address this problem. So that's my point, Bernard.
Okay, thank you very much, Reverend Lala, on this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep going. Invite somebody and, of course, participate in the poll question. Are you in support of the impeachment of Sakaja or not? And, of course, give a reason there about. Talking about arrest and graft issues, listen out to what the Minister for Health, Duale, is proposing about the SHA and those who he claims are cheating the system, which came into effect that they were making it foolproof, so that it replaces NHF. Now, what has happened that now the system is losing more than NHF, and now the Minister for Health, after closing the hospitals, is now proposing, or rather presenting his data evidence to the DCI so that the criminal justice system can come into play. Let's just listen to this and then be able to weigh all these things in their proper perspective, even in relation to what is going on with the proposed impeachment. Here we go.
Now, Health CS Aidan Duale has handed over more than 1,000 files to the Director of Criminal Investigations, DCI, that is Mohammed Amin, for investigation into suspected health insurance fraud under SHA. Duale, while announcing the closure of 85 hospitals under investigation, said that the probe will expose fraudulent claims linked to the scheme. Melita Oletenges has the details.
The alleged attempt by healthcare facilities to steal 10.6 billion shillings from the Social Health Authority has caused uproar among Kenyans. The crackdown following the attempted heist has seen 85 hospitals shut down for their suspected involvement.
All the perpetrators, be they facility owners, or doctors, or patients, face the full force of the law.
Health CS Aden Duale submitted 1,188 files to the DCI and police, saying that 190 were presented by SHA, while 998 came from the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council, KMPDC.
And these facilities are categorized into three. Category 1 are 24 facilities. The cases, which are the cases with concluded evidence of fraud. So these 24 facilities, forensic audits have been done, the system evidence is being provided, and it's complete.
Every person, groups of people involved in the fraud against healthcare services are brought to book and they have their day before the courts of law.
This exercise will be taken very, very seriously. We shall investigate the matter very, very promptly, and make sure that all the culprits are identified and prosecuted.
The hospitals under probe are accused of inflating charges without offering treatment, submitting fake records, or billing for services not rendered.
We have a comprehensive digital system built on artificial intelligence and a big data fraud engine. Over the last year, since the rollout of Taifa Care, this system has collected a vast amount of data, giving it the power to detect.
DCI has stated that a multi-agency team has been constituted to lead investigations, dig deeper, and expose the full extent of the scandal. Melita Oletinges, Citizen TV.
Okay, Reverend Lala, there you have it. Now, Duale handing over files to the DCI. What do you see here? Is it really unearthing what is going on at the Shah, or is still playing in the gallery to throw dust in the eyes of Kenyans?
I think let's give it time. Let's find out what type of facility they were targeting. Okay, if it is done blindly, which is we don't target certain groups, certain places. Okay, I think the idea is great. Just making sure that they find these criminals. Okay, but then when you're doing it, when you know there are others who have done it, and you're not focusing on them, when you know you are the ones who have been stealing from Kenyans, and that's where it is. It doesn't make sense to me, because and this is where I tie everything. You know, you stole an election, or and then you now try to be holier than thou. I mean, now you are the law, and I mean, so this is why people are skeptical. Because everything is has got. You think it is done for noble purposes, but you discover it is actually a way to create idea that people to believe that you're fighting graft, when actually you are just using the chance to get even with other people that you think should be able to bear the blame. So I'll wait and see. I think to me it's wait and see, and we want to see the evidence and how it was, how they targeted, and whether those people targeted the right people to be targeted. So, and that's my stand. Okay, I'll wait and see the evidence and how that evidence was used. Yes. Back to you, Bernard.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Reverend Lala. Now, my difficulty into this entire issue is that remember, there is an ultimatum for Duale to step down because of presiding over the loss of this huge amount in that Shah system. And now, when there is a demand for him to step aside, he's now calling for a press conference, handing files to the investigative authorities in the glare of cameras. Why would that be the case? If he had any evidence, he can do that privately to the DCI, and then the DCI begins to do the investigation. So is he fighting his political survival, or saving his job, or is he indeed looking at how to safeguard the public resources that are lost under his watch?
That's what I'm saying. We have to wait to get more data, more information, because why would he wait till this time? If whatever it is, the system they were using was able to detect things earlier, you stop things earlier. You prosecute them very quietly. You don't have to wait till things are bad. Then all of a sudden you come up with, I don't know, 6 billion. That to me is a suspect. I agree with you, Bernard. You know, that this idea of you're being pushed out, then all of a sudden you come up with this big evidence. To me, it's a suspect. Yeah. I think something is there, which is we are not being told. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much, Reverend Lala. We will soon take a short break. When we are back, we'll be looking now at the movement of Kenya Moja. This is another emerging wing of our politics, and of course, its significance at this point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, as we take a short break, karibisha mtu, like video, piga kura yako. Unataka Sakaja aende ama asiende? Iko hapo kwa YouTube channel. In case you are following us on TikTok, the link is in the bio. Just click on the link. It will take you to the YouTube channel. You'll be able to respond to the poll question. Should the MCAs of Nairobi impeach Sakaja or not? That is the poll question. Well, as we return, we'll be looking at the Kenya Moja MPs. That is Babu Owino, Sifuna, Wamuchomba, and then there is Amisi. What's cooking? Is this the future or the current? And will they be able to tilt the usual traditional voting blocks that are maybe regionally or tribally built? We need to have a look on the same. So please keep it right here. We'll be back in a short while. God bless you.
Marriage is one of life's most monumental decisions. It's not just about the wedding day or the ring. It's about committing your heart, mind, and soul to a lifelong partnership. But here's the big question. Are you really ready? Introducing Are You Marriage Ready? By Bernard Ngozi, a transformative ebook designed to guide you in building a successful and fulfilling union. This essential resource delves deep into personal growth, compatibility assessment, and the true meaning of marriage beyond the fairy tale. Learn how to reflect on your values, develop emotional resilience, and evaluate your relationship to ensure compatibility. This book opened my eyes to areas I needed to work on and helped me see my relationship in a new light. Jessica M. Available now for just $5, Are You Marriage Ready? Is accessible on all major platforms. Don't miss this opportunity to prepare yourself for one of life's most beautiful journeys. Follow the link in the description below to download your copy now. Empower your future. Embrace a fulfilling marriage now.
The 2027 presidential contest has been seen as a two-horse race in the making. On the one side is President William Ruto and Raila Odinga and their broad-based formation. And on the other, the united opposition allied to Rigathi Gachagua and Kalonzo Musyoka. But now more players have expressed intention to join the fray or even front a candidate, including the Kenya Moja formation, mainly made up of young legislators who have seemingly refused to toe their ODM and UDA party lines. The MPs among them, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, Kitutu Chache South MP Anthony Kibagendi, Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, Saboti's Caleb Amisi, and Githunguri lawmaker Gathoni Wamuchomba are training their eyes on the youth vote, estimated to be about 14 million in 2027. NTV's David Mudoka interrogates the rise of Kenya Moja and whether this youth-driven rebellion is a fleeting moment, a bigger sideshow orchestrated by the very people they are denouncing, or the start of a political revolution.
The race to 2027 is heating up, with different contestants and outfits declaring interest to unseat President William Ruto, who will be seeking re-election. From former Chief Justice David Maraga to human rights activist Boniface Mwangi, and even the united opposition comprising DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua and Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka. The 2027 presidential race bears the hallmarks of being one of the most fiercely contested elections ever. Complicating the matrix is the Kenya Moja alliance that comprises young MPs from UDA and ODM who have backed the broad-based trend and are now charting their political path. The alliance, that is yet to be officially launched, has been seen as a third force, but its members think otherwise.
Kenya Moja alliance is not a third force. It is the only force that is existing.
So Kenyans have decided it is only one horse, and it is only one voice, and it is only one force that are going to listen to. So any other person out there will be swallowed by the big river. Any other person, including William Ruto, will be swallowed. He will be crying to join us, and he will be crying to be part of that force, because he also believes that Kenya needs a change. He just is unable to change, so he will fall in.
As the new force continues to crisscross the country with an aim of drumming up support from the youth, who are expected to form the bulk of voters in 2027 if the 2024 and the 2025 protests are anything to go by. Questions abound on whether the alliance will be fielding a candidate to challenge President William Ruto or support one of the veteran leaders in the quote-unquote united opposition.
Some of those that you're calling opposition, they've been at it for the last 30 years. If they never delivered at their prime ages when they were young, some of them became vice president when they are young, some of them became deputy president when they are young, others were ministers, critical ministers when they were young. 20 years down the line, what convinces you that they will do better?
So we want to remove this cabal of Moi regime that has ruled this country for 65 years. We are basically telling them, your time, 60 years is enough for a generation to have made a change to this country. You do not need 200 years.
Our age mates have become presidents. We are too late. Look at Burkina Faso at 32, Traore was a president. Look at Fidel Castro at 32 was a president. Look at Libya, Gaddafi at 28 was a president. I'm too late to bring change in this country, Mudoga.
Young and ambitious, these MPs have often found themselves at odds with the conservative factions in their respective parties. Babu Owino, for example, is almost certain that he will not get the ODM ticket in the Nairobi gubernatorial race after ODM leader Raila Odinga previously promised to throw his weight behind UDA's Johnson Sakaja.
Nataka Nairobi ibaki imara. Nataka Nairobi ibaki namna gani? Ndio huyo kijana yangu huyo. Ashikilie. Na afanye kazi sawa sawa.
Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, on the other hand, is on the verge of being kicked out as ODM Secretary General, while Githunguri MP Gathoni Wamuchomba has rarely seen eye to eye with President Ruto since 2023, when she voted against the year's finance bill defining party position. So, does this mean that these leaders will be jumping ship to form a new party?
If the people have told us, stand up and be our voice, we are responding to them. If the people tell us, stand up and form a party, we are going to support you, we are going to be members, will be basically be responding to the people, because the people, the power belongs to the people. Those are the people who hold the power.
If associating with Sifuna and Babu will provide solutions for the youth, will provide solutions for the farmers, solutions for my women of Kenya, solutions for any other group in the society that requires somebody to advocate for their rights, and that transforms to a political party or alliance, so be it. But it's not up to us to say. It is the people's to say.
The intention is to ensure that Kenya Moja produces youthful leadership at the county assembly in 2027, at the National Assembly in 2027, at the Senate in 2027, gubernatorial seats in 2027, and a president in 2027. That is the intention. Why? Because we lack leadership in this country.
Should they form a new political vehicle? Critics argue that their rise only splinters the opposition vote inadvertently, making President Ruto's re-election bid easier. But is it so?
We are coming together, and we pray that other opposition leaders to join us in this Kenya Moja movement so that we can all fight together. We forge a way forward, and the best way forward for the interest of Kenyan citizens.
People want change. Whoever will deliver that change is not going to divide anybody. Because once people have decided that they want change, they'll go with one person. During Kibaki's time, there are so many presidential candidates who stood, but people decided it's Kibaki.
Sisi ndio tumekataa kupigia Nebukadneza magoti. Sisi ndio tumesema kama ni mbaya.
There are also fears that their combative style and populist rhetoric often mirror the same script Kenyans have had for decades. Without concrete policy proposals and a clear ideological stance, analysts say the formation risks being dismissed as political noise.
Basically, the ideologies, the issues, the agenda of progressing the country belongs, and it is from the young people. The old generation have failed. So they cannot say we have no agenda when the agenda has failed. In fact, the main agenda is to remove the agenda that has failed Kenya.
Just like in the Bible, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the beginning, there is an idea that has been born. This idea will transform and germinate into hope, into jobs for this country, into fighting corruption in this country, and to ensure that Kenyans get a better living.
With 2027 less than 2 years away, the formation has little time to turn energy into structures, rhetoric into policy, and ambition into a serious presidential bid. Will Kenya Moja find the winning formula, or will they fizzle out under the country's unforgiving political arithmetic? David Muthoka, NTV, Nairobi.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, young politicians saying the agenda is to remove the failed agenda. And then, of course, raising issues here and there. I don't know how you see that, Reverend Lala. Is this it, or we should wait for another?
Okay, give me a second, Bernard.
Okay, thank you. As Lala put himself together to respond on my question, you got it from Babu, Amisi, Wamuchomba, of course, the other leaders of Kenya Moja. What is your take about this movement of Kenya Moja? I can see some quarters, dismissing it as another win for William Ruto to divide votes, and then, of course, offer himself an easy win in his re-election. That is, in my opinion, just an hypothesis that, of course, the propagandist would want to raise. I believe everybody has a right to express themselves on the kind of leadership that we are having and offer themselves as a solution. I see nothing wrong with that. And then, of course, we cannot say that they are impatient. They have patiently waited and, of course, participated into their political space. They are elected members of parliament. And so their political experience, I believe, has some level of understanding that would kind of inform the way the country should go, and as opposed to the way the country is going. So what do you make of this Kenya Moja movement? Is it the way to go, or it is testing the waters without concrete, solid, convincing agenda that would rally Kenyans behind them? This push and pull about the old and the new, the failure of the old and now the new should come in. Is it reason enough for us to say that we will change leadership and get younger leaders, and getting younger leaders will guarantee change in the country? We have had that before. Remember the 2013 election and the push and pull between the electing of Ruto and, of course, Raila Odinga and Kalonzo. And one of the reasons why Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto were elected or rigged into office was because they were younger, and Raila was older, Kalonzo was older. But my question is, 10 years later, what changed? How much has Kenya benefited from the so-called youthful leaders then? And so in my seat here, leadership is neither old or younger. Leadership is leadership, and it requires to be competent, effective, and committed to a cause that nothing can explain you out of. And that cause needs to be bigger than you, bigger than anything else in your life. Without that, we'll only be playing the, moving of chairs from one corner to another. At the end of the day, nothing much will be going on. So the debate about the old should go, the young to come in. The young are the hot blood that will bring the change this country so much needs. It's something debatable from where I sit. I don't know how you take that. Karibuni kila moja kwa maoni yako. Yes, Lala.
Yes. Bernard, this young versus old has no water. I think it's part of, I would call it part of cowardice. So we look for another group to do something that we should do for ourselves. I think a good leader is not determined by age, but the content of their character, or what they stand for, what they are willing to die for. That's what determines a good leader. So Kenya Moja, I have no problem with it. That these are young people who are very promising, a number of them in the group, and plus other people joining them, that's perfectly fine. If it is for part of the pressure group, focusing on the issues, okay? Because the issues is what we are looking for, not personality, because personality is where we have messed up, because we are waiting for somebody to tell us what to do. I think any group, any pressure group that is based on purely addressing what is wrong with the country is fine. That means that there are nobody's there without some individual interests. Yes, there are a lot of egos there, but if they're addressing the issues, I think we are better off, because these people will go. The one time they'll go. Some of us are aging and others, but the problem of Kenya will not go away. It will only go away if it's addressed by Kenyans, and Kenyans is you and me, it's all of us saying no. And so if somebody is speaking our language and our voice and we think they're genuine, then we gotta, stand with them. And when they are wrong, definitely we can't go the ditch simply because we are following them. We gotta be cautious. We gotta step backward and ask what is it that is going on. Um, so we're in a difficult state at this moment, but addressing issues, I think, must continue on. We must stand for the nation, for Kenya. So I got no issue with the people mentioned. I think they are young. I think they are very interesting, and I think they have amount of courage. And to me, let them go forward, but not in a way where they are the self-righteous, where they are the only one up there, which would definitely um, make them begin to ask questions. Who is that? Who is there behind what they're standing for? So I don't want to step on their way. I think they're like-minded. I think they are exciting leaders. I think they have an agenda. Do they need to grow? Yes, growth is necessary, it's needed, but you don't grow. Growth doesn't mean you stop talking about evil. Because sometimes people be mature. Mature means let things go on the way they're going. No, maturity means that you reflect on what's going on, you look at weigh the options, and you make the best decision that will make sense to the people, that you are with them, you're fighting for their rights and their causes. I think if that's the reason behind it, then it's perfectly fine. And we cautiously, of course, support them if we sense some things that are going on behind the scene that we don't know. And so I got no one stepping forward to fight. And I think to me, I think they make Baba really happy, because Baba, one of the things that I think Baba tried to do was to weigh options. What would happen if we let the country go to the dogs, without um, uh, any of us having any influence. So I think Baba believed that his influence is good to an extent, temporary, uh, 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 remedy while we sort out our problem. I see it as someone who has stepped forward. I disagree with some of the, sitting with Ruto and the rest. But on the other hand, you look at the bigger picture, then you see what is wrestling with. If nobody can see that and see things are easy, then I have a problem with such kind, because some of us were so angry we wanted the country to go, and because we didn't think beyond just what the slogans were saying, and so there could have been some hidden soldier somewhere who went to take over, which could have been good. We don't know, but the examples that we've seen with military rule is not good. Some of the examples we've seen. On the other hand, it could have been a great, transition, but we don't know that because of the complexity of Kenyan politics. So let's view these complex challenges, with the maturity, and let us continue to put the pressure. If something is wrong, it's wrong. If somebody is bad, it's bad. Okay, we got to do what we can. But I can see somebody like Baba trying to retain a nation, trying to keep us all together as a nation, with all the challenges that we have, and with Ruto and his record, but also with the history, legacy of a country that is so divided. Economically, some places never received anything. And so probably looked at the the signs that of life that we are seeing in the devolved system, that the places where that never had anything, no money going to those places, and now begin to see some things going there. So even though it's challenging, but keeping a nation together gives us a chance to fight another day, if we want to do things the right way. So Kenya Moja have a chance to fight. Okay, they have a chance to help us, get this country back. And those on the other side also have a chance to prove themselves that they were wrong, but now they want to put things right. In other words, we are all given a chance to correct the problem right now in Kenya, rather than just fighting these personality wars. We can look at the problem and tackle it as Kenyans. We don't have to be in the same party. We can be from wherever we are and fight for justice and fight for good governance, and we can win the war. And so I look at it from that perspective. Back to you, Bernard.
Thank you, Reverend Lala. We appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, mambo ni kama hayo. Kenya Moja, vijana, wanasiasa, wanasema basi wazee hawakufanya vizuri, ama walifikia mahali au wanataka kuchukulia hapo na wasogeshe inji mbele. Anaitwa Alfred Mutawali anasema, I think that Baba let us down big time. I don't believe that the country was going to the dogs and that the broad-based government was the solution. Thank you for your opinion there. But there are so many factors that were pointing towards a collapse. The country going to the dogs begins with the collapse of the leadership. It is said, or rather it was said, I think by who? Was it Kaluma or somebody who said that a bad government is better than no government? And if there is anything that Kenyans have not experienced, is a total collapse of government systems. I don't think we have never come to that place. Maybe the worst that has ever taken place was the 1982 so-called attempted overthrow of Moi administration, and it didn't last much. But the kind of damages that came out of the same was something that we need as a people to reconsider, especially when it comes to agitating for change. I am for change. I want change like yesterday. This country deserves better. We need better, leadership, no doubt on the same. But going about it, in my opinion, requires some wise and serious thinking. Just, getting rid of Ruto is easy, okay? But what happens thereafter? So as much as, and of course, the broad-based government was not the solution. The solution is yet to be found so far. You can see even the ODM experts are also struggling to, prove that their joining of the Kenya Kwanza administration was a positive move, and it has helped the country to where. Because the same things that Mbadi was critical of are the ones that he's now advocating for. And it appears that the enemies of change in this country is the exact system that is on. It's not necessarily on who is running the system. It's like the country has been set on a particular mode whereby no matter like what I think Paul Mwite once said, that with the old constitution, it was that time when we were campaigning for the new constitution, and he said that even if we got an angel from heaven and made it president under the old constitution, there is no way he will not end up doing evil, because that old constitution gave leeway for all manner of things to take place that were not right. And so putting that in consideration, in my opinion, it was necessary to help midwife the transition from the Ruto administration to another administration. Other than collapse everything, then let's start from the beginning. It is easier said than done. Lessons, I mean, places to consider that. Look at Sudan. Look at Somali. The government of Somalia collapsed in 1994. Is it 94 or earlier than that? Until today, there is still trouble. Sudan. So we have some, exceptional cases where a government is overthrown and then everything goes back to normal, and the structures are put in place. But you can't guarantee that. And our country being the way it is, where people have interest, I can't imagine what would become of this country that there is a state of emergency, and then we have this appetite for looting like we have, and there is no government. The police wamekuwa raia that hey, Mungu saidia Kenya. I don't think we'll survive. So please, let's buy into the wisdom of the elderly, even as we midwife, they change. Even when the just a moment, even when a child has come to delivery, there are various factors that are considered by the doctors, the midwife. You don't just get in and say the child has to come out now. And so we have to, put off everything. So there are matters, say it's sign here first before even the C-section is engaged and all that. So in my opinion, it was important for the things to cool down, and then we look critically at what's happening. Unfortunately, we deviated from addressing the issues. We began now to enjoy the broad-based, other than use that ceasefire as an opportunity to scrutinize and address the underlying issues. So we are playing politics with a problem without us solving that problem. That is where the disadvantage of this entire thing lies. But calling for ceasefire and ensuring that there is a ceasefire, in my opinion, it was necessary. And look at the kind of people that were behind all the happenings. Look at the kind of change they were advocating for. Look at what they wanted to achieve. Where is it? Where was the interest of the public? Kicking Ruto out alone? Lala?
Yes, it's Bernard. I just wanted to emphasize the point that you're making, that the looting society, we don't think about the nation, we think about our pockets. And if the government is gone, and you can see people going out there to get something. I was in Nairobi on August 32, okay? And I watched, how looting, took place, because these are people who have been waiting for change, economically, politically, all other ways. So that was their chance to go out there, and I'm sorry, but some of those business community, the Indians and others, had it rough, because these are people that have been deprived of their rights. These are people that are looking for change. People don't see the government as their government.
We are losing you.
In some of those homes, there are a lot of pain, and let's compare it to Korea. South Korea had a problem. The country called for an emergency, okay, because of the economy was so bad. What they did was amazing. People started donating gold and watches, all these things to save their nation. They were giving, okay, instead of taking, they were giving. But for us, because of the state of the economy and where people are, inequality and everything else, people may go think in terms of, how do I protect secure my family? It is my, and that's a fear that sometimes some of decisions from people like Baba and others probably thought of that. Though some of us wanted it gone, but it is time for this truth for us to see exactly what we cannot change, because you said the experts are there, but things are still not going the right direction. So we know that this system has to be changed. So whatever's happened may not be bad if we think of what could have gone wrong, and therefore it is God's way of saying, I'm giving you a chance, Kenya, to mend your ways, make some changes, have system that can protect my people, not you for yourself. Because some of these so-called freedom fighters or activists are there for themselves, and that's the sad part, because you get it and start fighting among yourself. We've seen that in Somalia, Sudan, and all these places when Somali they kicked out Said Barre. Yugoslavia, when they kicked out Tito, the country just gone into a total collapse. Okay, total collapse. And I can see Kenya going the same direction. Some people may have, voices like Baba who want the country together, but there are those that really just want things for themselves. And you can see those voices. Okay, we can see what has been going on since independence. Where people, certain groups, while they are the ones who enjoy the cake, the bigger portion of the cake, and while others eat nothing. So and that inequality creates a very bad atmosphere that can easily rock this country, the Kenya, into another Somalia. So let's Kenya take this as a time not to sleep, not to think things are fine, for those who are eating and those who are not eating, to think that God has forgotten us, but to see opportunities to be able to stand for justice and truth and demand a good governance. I think we can save ourselves out of where we are because God has provided opportunity for us, or we can continue eating and caring nothing about Kenya, and about the nation, and that way we are going down. Okay, and going to go down very fast. If you've watched the movie Titanic, okay, the ship hit an iceberg, the huge one, and there was a hole underneath the ship. But because it's big, nobody knew that something had happened. In fact, the guy who built that ship made a statement before the ship left England that even God cannot sink this ship. Even God cannot sink it, because to him it was a masterpiece, the one of its kind ever, and they thought nothing would take it down. And most of us think of Kenya as impossible. This is the great nation we are in, and nothing can shake it. But we don't know this iceberg has hit us underneath, and this ship is sinking. And God is giving us a chance to be able to work something and help us repair it. But we are not responding well at all. And so I support voices that are genuinely, crying out, to all of us to step forward and get on board, and let all of us be on the deck. Every hand must be on the deck, and that way we can easily save us. Because even when you hear of the arrest of some of these senators and others, no senators but the governors, we all just know the old system is in place. There's nothing new that whatever the prosecution will do, or this so-called theater of impeaching, the governor. If they were doing it correctly, with no ulterior motive, then there's no problem. It's supposed to be done, and they should do it. And the problem is the reason why they're doing it. Okay, at this time, why must they leave challenges to go on for a long time? What is it that the accusers, I think it's Baba who stated that usually when a contract is given, and the one who lost the contract, has an agenda to make sure to make sure that the person who got this contract either loses it, or they are arrested for some bad things, because they know bad things are being done. Even themselves who are calling on this contract to be cancelled, they would have done the same thing. Okay, so this poison of corruption, nepotism and tribalism and others, is so deep in Kenya, and it is God is calling us to fight, because if we do it well, we all prosper together. If we stay one united, we love justice and truth, we're all going to prosper, because there's so much wealth that we have in this nation, but we choose not to really want to enjoy it. We want to hold some of it. The Bible talks of the manna. People started holding those mannas, whatever it is, the quail, I don't know, the manna in the wilderness. And they were not meant to be hoarded. They were not meant to stay long. They're meant for that moment, to be used that moment. And some of us have that hoarding spirit. We want things for us. It's about me, about my tribe. Even use what my tribe is about, my family. It's about my friends. Everything is mine, mine, mine. So we can't be full of ourselves and expect to prosper and win these battles ahead of us. And so, Bernard, to me, I think, yes, the Constitution has to be implemented. Yes, the impeachment has to go on. Sakaja has done something. This should be done, but let's not politicize it. Let it be done above the board. Let him not escape because somebody going to make a deal. You have to resign, and then they'll figure out now to get in, start eating. That's
You've dreamed about the perfect wedding, the dress, the vows, the happily ever after. But let's ask the most important question. Before you say I do, are you truly ready for the lifelong commitment that comes after the honeymoon period fades? Bernard Ngozi's groundbreaking ebook, Are You Marriage Ready?, is the ultimate guide to building a successful, lasting marriage. This isn't just another relationship book, it's a heart-to-heart conversation that prepares you for one of life's biggest decisions, getting married. Are you choosing love or just infatuation? Are you building a marriage or just planning a wedding day?
Reading this book was a game changer. I realized I wasn't as ready as I thought, but now I'm on the right path.
Don't wait until it's too late. Invest in your future. Download Are You Marriage Ready today. Link in the description below. Your future spouse deserves the best. Are you ready?
Sound Candy Talk Live News. Sound Candy Talk Live News.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying tuned. We're having a little hiccup here. We are sorting that out. So, Lala, we dropped off. You are saying
Hello?
something.
Oh, okay. I think I basically stated what I wanted to say, and that is impeachment. If it's necessary, I mean, it is in the Constitution. It's a way of bringing to book, political side, the wrongs, and then out of it, there should be some prosecution, legal, part should also take place, rather than those deals made behind, to kind of treat them as if nothing has happened, yet money is disappearing. So I hope that it will be done correctly. If he has enriched himself, I think the judiciary has machinery to do the prosecution. I mean, to help out the executive, of course, with the DCI, to investigate, and the public prosecutors to be able to come up with credible charges, so that this man is punished, which never happened in Kenya. They go home, or they spend some few days, but a chicken thief goes for many, many years. They get beat up, they come out of those prisons, they're not human beings. So clearly, economy is what separates Kenyans. When you are poor, when you are mere mwananchi, you got no representation. And the only tool we have is that thing called ballots. That's when your voice and my voice can be heard. That's when we decide who we elect to lead us and guide us. That's when we give power and take away power. We can remove power. We got that card called a ballot card. Let's use it wisely. Let's not take, elect Sakajas. And we elected them because they gave us money, they bribed us. So we are part of the problem. If you ate any money from a politician, you're an enabler. That's the word. You're just as bad. Okay? But many of us have done it without, thinking, because that is most of that money is your own money, your tax money that they loot. They don't have anything they have done behind their their legacy is not there. They have not produced anything. They have not invented anything. All they do is collect your taxes and bribe you with it, and you accept that. And that's the tragedy of it all. That you yourself, it's almost like you're selling your land, you're selling your children, you're selling your future to give to the person who is stealing from you. In other words, you go and work hard, and portion of it is not to help your children, not to serve, the things that require the service. Okay, is to give someone who is your enemy to eat, and you come and vote for him and her, and you're happy, you're excited that this is our Mjumbe. Oh God, may God help us to do our part. And that is to make sure we put the right people and that the laws are followed. That's it. Back to you, Bernard.
Thank you, Lala. We appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, as we bring the curtain down to the show, let me quickly respond to, I think, our friend here, Mtawali. He says, Kenyans have come a long way. They want good governance. They're saying that it is better a bad government than none is just a lame excuse to keep the oppressor in power. Good point there, but I still have my reservation on the same because especially the Gen Z protests, they were high stake, yes, and achieved more. But one would say one thing that wasn't clear about the Gen Z protest is, after Ruto, now what? If you want to participate into change of regime or change of leadership, there must be, when this one leaves, who takes over? Do we have that spelled out in the law? We don't. And when the law gets suspended, do we have a plan on how the country will be governed? We don't. So why should we force ourselves into the jungle without any, roadmap on how we're going to get back to the right path? We get so much excited about, getting somebody out of office, which is okay because we are sick and tired of incompetent leadership. It's fine. But as elders, we can't think like the youth without having a proper systematic way of addressing. Tuchome nyumba ndio, okay? Lakini ikishachomeka tunalala wapi wakati tunaijenga kama wazee sasa, okay? So sio tu tufukuze huyu tulete huyu. Kama hakuna mkakati halisi ya jinsi ya kuleta huyu mwingine, itakuwa kuwaje? Na wakati iko hiyo no man's land, no clear cut of how things should be done, what will be going on? Those of you who are old enough, you remember when Mzee was very old. That is Jomo Kenyatta. He was very old, but still in power. There are so many atrocities that were done in his name without even his authorization. People just go and get things and be Mzee amesema, Mzee amesema, Mzee amesema. In the process, Mzee hajasema na Mzee hawezi kujitetea ama huwezi kwenda kumuuliza. So kwangu mimi, I still feel that if we really want change, then let's take full responsibility. And full responsibility means get rid of this regime. How are we going to get the next regime? Are we ready for military rule? And even in the military, do we have competent nationalists in the military that will take the country and carry it on their shoulder, like Ibrahim Traore? Do we have our own Ibrahim Traore in the military at the moment? Can we pinpoint any one of them? So, kwangu mimi, I still believe midwifing the process so that it leads us to the next elections and then make the decision in the next election. It is a better evil than for us to throw the whole country into a state of no governance, no proper laid out rules, no nothing. To me, no. Kabla tuchome nyumba, tuambie talala wapi. Ukituonyesha hapo, basi tutakuletea kiberiti. Lakini tuchome tu kwa sababu we don't care. That to me is not how things should be done. Of course, Asil 2 TV anasema but we live in that fear forever? Just like the rest of the world, maybe we must go through it to learn. Yes, if worse comes to worse, but let it go there because there is no options. But if there are options, it's better for us. That's my opinion. If there is an option, we better use that option. And I'll give you the practical example of a marriage setting. Okay, you can quarrel, you can have difficulties, conflict between you and your spouse, or in a home setting, maybe brother, sister, you're having your fights. You don't resort into cutting each other or finishing each other or eliminating each other. There are modalities of going about resettling what has gone wrong, and of course seek reconciliation. So, and of course it will demand some compromises here and there. So to me, the management of the country needs better thinking through, and of course giving leeway. I believe it's better off for us to get rid of Ruto on the ballot than chase him out of office without who takes over. If we want Ruto out of office, then let's follow due process, which is take the matter to parliament, let the parliament impeach him. When he gets properly impeached constitutionally, then the constitution says when he is impeached, his deputy runs the country for the remaining term. So we know where we are coming from and where we are going. But throwing the country into the forest and saying let what may be, hapo tutaanza kuongea tujue tutapatia nani ama tutaachia nani, that's too dangerous. It's too dangerous, and is an experiment that I think it is high stake to to allow that to happen. So in my opinion, I would rather stay with what is bad at the moment until we remove it. Have you ever had a toothache in the deep of the night? I'm talking about the village setting. Yeah? You're in the deep village in wherever you are, and then you're having a severe toothache, and probably you can't go to hospital that night, and you can't, the best you can do is apply first aid. And then that first aid is not forever. It's just to hold you in one place until the day breaks. When the day breaks, you find a lasting solution to your toothache. I think the root of toothache may last with us for a while, but daybreak, we should not bring back the same problem. So in my opinion, tufikirie sana, na tukienda kupiga kura, hapo ndio nataka kila Mkenya aamue, tutarekebisha ili jino ama tutaling'oa. Na wakati tunaling'oa, tunarejesha lipi? That should not be taken lightly. And so as elders, once again, I will want to encourage us not to encourage our young people to walk on no grounds, or walk on no principles, or walk on no man's land. Let everybody be founded on an understanding that being tired of bad leadership, yes, you can be tired even of staying in your father's house or your father's compound, but you will need to stay there until you are building a place to move to, or you have an alternative of where to go. You cannot just wake up and say, I'm tired of staying here, I'm out of here, and don't look for me, don't call me, and all that. Before long, you will be back. If you can, borrow from the prodigal son story in Luke, I think is 15 or so, or 14. They're about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is 26 minutes to 2 a.m. East African time, and I think we have exhausted what we needed to look at in today's show, and so you will allow me to call the curtains of this show as we engage further in the subsequent shows. Cha muhimu hapa, Sakaja anatimuliwa. Are you in support of the same? We had 22 people responding to the Do you support Nairobi MCAs to move to impeach Governor Sakaja? 86% say yes, and 14% say no. So we can see the supermajority of the people feel Sakaja needs to go. And so let the MCAs bring about whatever charges they have against Sakaja, and the Senate should do due diligence to see to it that if impeaching Sakaja is a solution to Nairobi, let them ensure that that is done. And then, of course, I'm also getting concerned about how impeachment cases coming to the Senate and being defeated on technical grounds. That to me is beginning to smell a rat. That somebody is, there is maybe overwhelming evidence. This person has embezzled, has mismanaged public resources, has, has grossly violated the Constitution. But because the number of MCAs that impeached him were not sufficient, we can't listen to the case. We must establish how many MCAs actually were present and things like that. I think we need to go beyond these technicalities and look into the matter, because the Senate exists to safeguard the functionality of the counties, and of course the counties need to function in the interest of the majority of the people in that particular county. And so the aspect of impeachments not going through in the Senate on technical grounds, something needs to be done right there. I think we need to have some, maybe some amendments on the law that surrounds that, so that we can be able to ensure that whatever matter that is raised, it is actually looked at completely, and then, of course, a decision is made in the interest of the people. But the defeating of an impeachment case just on technicalities, it's a presidency that, in my opinion, is not so much, we actually allow the fish back into the water. We legalize the illegal cases against the individual. At least there should be recommendation of maybe further investigations, and then, of course, where there are criminal cases, let there be another avenue of pursuing them, not just because the number of MCAs were not enough and so the impeachment is defeated. To me, hiyo haisaidii, na tutafute suluhisho. Tusikae tu hapo kwa mishahara na kulinda maovu. Tuwe hapo kusimama kinyume na maovu. Ningependa kuwashukuru sana kwa michango yenu na kuwa sehemu ya kipindi hiki. Tunakuomba tafadhali, kama uja subscribe, kama uja like video, tafadhali like video, and then of course karibisha wengi tu tukajiunge pamoja kila usiku tunapoangazia masuala haya ambayo ni ya muhimu. Lakini cha muhimu, kama hujachukua kura yako, chukua kura. Kama una kitambulisho, tafuta kitambulisho. Usiwe tu hapa unasema Ruto must go, au utatoa Ruto by Ruto must go. Lazima ujihami, na kujihami ni kuchukua kura, kuchukua kitambulisho, na kuanza kuhamasisha Wakenya wasirudishe mwiba kwa mguu baada ya kung'olewa. Unaweza vumilia usiku mzima kwa sababu labda hakuna taa na uwezi kutoa mwiba, ukavumilia mpaka asubuhi, lakini asubuhi ikifika, toa mwiba kwa mguu kabisa kabisa, wacha kutoa nusu. Kwa hivyo kama tunafinywa na serikali hii, tunakandamizwa na serikali hii, tuna asongi mbele na serikali hii, tusitengeneze tena mazingara ya kurejesha serikali hii. Lazima tujitahidi kuhakikisha kwamba mabadiliko tunayoyaomba, yale mabadiliko ambayo tunayafanya nini, tunashauku nayo, basi tukayashabikie, tukayapiganie, na tuhakikishe kwamba kila mmoja anaelewa kwa nini tunataka mabadiliko, na hayo mabadiliko yatakuja vipi, nani atawajibika kuhakikisha kwamba hatutarudi tena mahali tumekuwa. Asante sana, na washukuru wote ambao wamekuwa sehemu na kipindi hiki. Shadizo huyu anatufuata akiwa sehemu nyingine, tunamsubiri studio. Tuni our PS, asante sana kwa kufika, tunashukuru. Vince, asante sana kwa kurejea. Umepotea siku nyingi na ukasema kwa nini hapo, tumekuelewa, lakini tujifunze kwamba kutofautiana katika mawazo hakumaanishi uadui ama kukuepana. Lazima tujifunze kuishi pamoja. Na nika quote hiyo nyimbo ya Lucky Dube, the cats and the dogs have forgiven each other. What is wrong with us? That is something that we all need to kind of look at. Tip point, asante sana kwa kuwa hapa. Charles Green, long time also. Thank you for being part of the conversation. And of course, our friend Alfred Mtawali, asante sana kwa kuchangia na kuwa sehemu na kipindi. Asil2 TV, thank you so much. We salute you and your input. But let's take responsibility. Tuweke mikakati inayotosha kuhakikisha kwamba mabadiliko tunayataka ni ya kudumu. Na mimi ni mwanafunzi wa historia, naendelea kuwakumbusha tu, tulibadilisha nchi hii kabisa kabisa in 2002, tukaleta Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki akawa kiongozi, alafu nini kafanyika? Hatukuweka mikakati ya kuhakikisha kwamba yale mabadiliko tuliyoyaleta kwa kupitia kupiga kura na kumchagua Mwai Kibaki yatakuwa ya kudumu. Okay? Kwa nini? Hatukuweka miundo msingi na mikakati ya kisheria ya kuhakikisha kwamba hayo mabadiliko hatutarudi nyuma tena. So what happened? All the changes that came by Kibaki and of course were positive for the country, we lost it 3 years later. We lost it, before even the next elections. And that is why I'm saying, even as young Turks push for leadership and want to be in leadership, let's think widely, let's take responsibility, and of course put an infrastructure that will ensure that we will never go back to where we are ever again. And that will require us to put in more effort and of course greater commitment in ensuring that the sensitizing of Kenyans and of course building up systems that will help the country move forward is something that we don't compromise. And so let's take notes, let's take responsibility, let's do what we must do, and of course help the country move forward. Thank you so much. Tukutane tutakapokutana katika kipindi kinachofuata. God bless you.
Tunazunguka kote kote mchana kutwa kukuletea taarifa na matokeo ya habari kutoka pembe zote za ulimwengu. Jioni tunaweka mduara wa kujadili taarifa zizo hizo kwa mapana na marefu. Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki kwenye matukio ya siku, saa 2 jioni kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Matukio ya siku, makao makuu ya habari kuu ya siku. At Sound Candy Talk, we provide live UHD broadcast for church services, talk shows and podcasts, weddings, live bands, products and services launches, webinars and trainings, Zoom meetings, conferences, seminars, exhibitions, and virtual concerts.